Everyone thinks nihilism looks like chaos. It doesn't. It looks like comfort. It looks like entertainment. It looks like endless debate without commitment. It looks like a culture that critiques everything but believes in nothing. It looks like irony replacing conviction. It looks like distraction replacing meaning. Nietzsche saw this before it arrived, and he didn't celebrate it. He warned us. When Nietzsche wrote the words, "God is dead," most people misunderstood him. They still do. He wasn't announcing a triumph. He wasn't applauding atheism. He wasn't mocking religion. He was diagnosing a cultural shift. For centuries, Western civilization rested on a shared metaphysical foundation. Truth was not merely personal. Good and evil were not preferences. Meaning was not self-invented. There was a structure, a hierarchy, a vertical axis that gave weight to human life. But Nietzsche noticed something subtle and irreversible. People no longer truly believed in that foundation, even if they continued speaking its language. The structure remained. The faith beneath it had faded. And that gap is where nihilism begins. Nihilism, for Nietzsche, was not destruction. It was weightlessness. It was the moment when the highest values lose their value. When words like truth, good, and purpose continue to circulate, but no longer carry unquestioned authority. This does not produce immediate collapse. It produces drift. A culture without foundations does not instantly fall apart. It floats. It becomes ironic. It becomes skeptical of seriousness. Conviction begins to feel uncomfortable. Depth feels excessive. Commitment feels risky. Irony becomes safer than belief. If everything can be questioned, nothing has to be defended. And if nothing has to be defended, nothing feels sacred. Nietzsche feared this softness more than chaos, because chaos is obvious. Drift is subtle. A drifting culture can look advanced. It can look sophisticated. It can look enlightened. But beneath the surface, it struggles with something far more dangerous than conflict. It struggles with emptiness. When a culture stops believing in its highest values, it does not immediately replace them. It often multiplies opinions instead. Everything becomes perspective. Everything becomes interpretation. Everything becomes negotiable. But negotiation cannot replace grounding. Human beings require orientation. We need something that stands above preference, something that anchors judgment. Without that anchor, we compensate. We seek stimulation. We seek distraction. We seek intensity. Debates become louder. Entertainment becomes constant. Speed replaces reflection. And exhaustion slowly becomes the background condition of life. Nietzsche understood that once the old foundation collapses, a vacuum appears, and vacuums never remain empty. New absolutes rush in. Temporary passions become moralized. Trends take on existential weight. Identity becomes sacred, not because people are foolish, but because the human mind resists meaninglessness. If there is no transcendent horizon, we manufacture one. Anything to avoid weightlessness. This is where Nietzsche becomes uncomfortable. He was not afraid of atheism. He was afraid of what comes after. He saw a civilization moving toward a moment where it would no longer trust its inherited truths, but would not yet know how to create new ones. That in-between state is nihilism, not fire, not destruction, but suspension. And here is the part that is most often misunderstood. Nietzsche did not promote nihilism. He diagnosed it. He saw it as a sickness of advanced cultures, a symptom of maturity without renewal. The famous figure of the Übermensch is often caricatured as arrogance, as dominance, as ego. But that misses the point entirely. The Übermensch is not a tyrant. It is a symbol of responsibility, a symbol of someone capable of creating values in a world that no longer hands them down. When inherited meaning dissolves, there are only two options: drift or build. Drifting is easy. It requires nothing. It allows endless commentary without commitment. Building is harder. It requires depth. It requires courage. It requires accepting that if no transcendent order guarantees meaning, meaning must be constructed deliberately. Nietzsche's warning was not apocalyptic. He did not predict instant ruin. He predicted a cultural mood, a mood of fatigue, a mood of skepticism toward all strong claims, a mood where everything is analyzed, but little is affirmed. Look closely at a culture that has stopped believing. You will not necessarily see violence. You will see distraction. You will see irony used as armor. You will see conviction treated as naivete. You will see seriousness interpreted as extremism. And beneath all of it, you may sense a quiet question. What actually matters? If nothing stands above us, what guides us? If every value is relative, what prevents collapse into indifference? Nietzsche did not provide comfortable answers. He did not offer ready-made replacements for lost faith. He offered a challenge. If the old God is dead, who will take responsibility for meaning? Not as dogma, not as ideology, but as creation. Because a culture that doubts everything eventually doubts itself, and a culture that doubts itself struggles to create anything lasting. When a civilization stops believing, it does not immediately fall. It consumes. It entertains itself. It debates endlessly. But it hesitates to build foundations that require sacrifice. Nietzsche's real question was never whether God exists. It was whether we are capable of carrying the weight of meaning without collapsing into comfort. He was not celebrating the void. He was warning us about drifting into it. And his question remains unsettlingly simple. If nothing is given, what will you build? This is The Quiet Mind. Calm thoughts, sharp conclusions.